Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Fatima Khair from the 9th batch, and today we will talk about action potential. Bismillah. So when it comes to neurons, it's either resting or it's in action potential. It's either resting or it's either conducting some signals. So let's see what is the story of action potential. So here let's say that we got a cell that has a resting potential of minus 70, okay? A stimulus came and made the cell more positive until it reached, let's say, minus 55. Now, what is this minus 55? What am I assuming? I'm assuming that minus 55 for this cell is the threshold. What do you mean by the threshold? The threshold is the voltage that when I reach, I'm going to go through action potential. If I didn't reach that voltage, I will not go into action potential. So it's the voltage that I must reach to start an action potential in a cell, or an excitable cell. Now, we reach the threshold. What will happen? Voltage-gated sodium channel will open, and sodium will start moving inside the cell. We call this depolarization. Movement of positive ions in the cell in action potential is called depolarization. Now, when we reach the peak, voltage-gated sodium channels will close, and potassium channels will be open widely, and potassium will start leaking outside the cell. So the movement of positive ions outside the cell in action potential is called repolarization. Now, if we assume that the positive ions the positive ions kept into going outside the cell despite reaching the resting potential, meaning it's now less than minus 70, it's going down and down and down. We call this hyperpolarization. So the movement of positive ions outside the cell, making the cell less negative than the resting potential, is called, sorry, not less negative, more negative than the resting potential, is called hyperpolarization. Let's recap in a better drawing. So here's a stimulus. We reached the threshold. Sodium channels are open and we got depolarization. Here in the peak, sodium channels are closed, potassium channels are widely open, potassium moved outside the cell. Repolarization. Now we are more potassium are getting out and more potassium ions are getting out, making the cell more negative than the resting potential. We call this hyperpolarization. Okay, this drawing just to show you that if you reach the threshold, you go into action potential. However, if you have sub-threshold stimulus, you will not have an action potential. Now the refractory period. There is this concept that says you cannot have two action potentials at the same time. However, in this area near the end of repolarization, somewhere in the repolarization, if you got higher than normal stimulus, very strong stimulus, stronger than usual stimulus, you can get another action potential, okay? So, you have two periods, absolute refractory period and relative refractory period. Absolute refractory period is that period where no matter how strong as your stimulus is, you cannot have an action potential. Relative refractory period is if you got stronger than normal stimulus, a really strong stimulus, you can actually initiate another action potential. The last concept is the concept of hypocalcemia. For some reasons, when you have low calcium or when the patients have low calcium in the blood, action potential becomes so easy, nerves become so excitable, and this is not something you want to have because this might cause the muscles in the airways to constrict, preventing air from moving to the lung, leading to death. Okay, so this concludes today's topic. I hope you enjoyed it. All the best in your final. I'm praying for you, pray for me, and if you have any questions, you have my contact information in the description. All the best.